Discover the incredible journey of a black woman rejected, as her billionaire husband exposed his prejudices. Mia stood in her bakery, the sweet aroma of cinnamon and fresh chocolate croissants enveloping her like a warm hug. Maplewood loved her, and as she touched the cool dough, she couldn't help but smile. Her little bakery wasn't just a business, it was a heart that beat for the community. Yet the whispers lingered, a backdrop to her triumph unseen but palpable. Is it too much to ask for acceptance? Mia pondered, rolling out her pastry with renewed vigor. Her grandfather's stories of struggle fueled her resilience. He fought in wars not just for freedom, but for respect. Her parents taught her the value of hard work, grounding her like sturdy roots in steady soil. Still, as she baked, she sometimes felt the weight of the world on her shoulders, the burdens of unspoken prejudice against her, and then came Ethan. From the moment they met at a charity gala, under a sea of twinkling lights, he had her entranced. With his charming smile and electric energy, Ethan embodied everything she thought she wanted. Their laughter filled the quiet moments in her shop, and those dates at extravagant restaurants brought an exhilarating rush. The bakery flourished more than she could have imagined, all thanks to her new partner, supportive yet utterly different from her world, but as reality unfurled, Mia began to feel the pull of two very different lives colliding. At first, Ethan's presence painted her life with gilded edges. However, as they blended their worlds, the glittering facade began to crack. One evening, seated at an opulent dinner surrounded by glitzy socialites, Ethan's demeanor shifted. His subtle jabs, veiled as humor, pierced through her, revealing a distance that left a ghostly chill in the air. "You just have to learn to present yourself better, Mia," he said, shrugging off her unease. "Am I not enough?" The question erupted from her lips, trembling with raw emotion. Her heart raced, the atmosphere felt electric, and every guest seemed to hold their breath. Coupling her fear of rejection with the very real uncertainties of their future, she couldn't help but grasp for clarity. Every eye roll, every condescending remark, dropped like stones in her stomach. The clash of their worlds became a hidden battlefield, with her self-worth coming into question. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Things hit rock bottom one stormy night, the heavens echoing their discord. Word came that the beloved Maplewood Park was slated for redevelopment, a decision steeped in corporate greed. Gathering the courage from her community, anger surged through Mia. She could no longer remain complacent. In that moment of clarity, she grabbed her apron, rallied her neighbors, and vowed to fight not just for the park but their shared dignity. As she stood before the crowd, faces lit with hope, heartbeats synchronized, Mia felt the tremors of change around her. Ethan, standing in the background, could no longer escape the fervor ignited by her resolve. Yet, as she rallied the community, questions loomed. Would Mia find her truth while reconciling her past pain with the cracks in her love? The air buzzed with uncharted paths and fierce determination. Would they rise together, or would Mia have to confront her future alone, fighting for her identity as the winds of change howled around her? The stage was set. Mia stood at the front of the crowd, her heart pounding like a drum, deafening in the stillness that followed her passionate words. The faces looking back at her glowed with a shared determination. Families and friends, all gathered to stand against the impending threat to their beloved park, seemed united in a way she had never witnessed before. It filled her with a warmth that pushed away the chill of doubt. Together, we're stronger. They can't take away what belongs to us. She shouted, her voice rising over the murmur of agreement. Cheers erupted, voices bolstered by her resolve. In that moment, she found not just her voice, but her power. She could feel it coursing through her veins like sugar rushing through freshly baked pastries, but when Mia turned to glance at Ethan, she found him straddling two worlds. His initial support, the way he smiled amid the crowd, faded under a veil of uncertainty. Was he there for her, or for the sake of appearances? The flicker of doubt in his eyes twisted the joy around her, creating a knot in the center of her gut. As the night deepened, the mood shifted. The sweet exhilaration dwindled into heavy silence, shadows creeping in from every corner of the park. The reality of their uphill battle pressed down on Mia like a lead blanket, weighing heavily on her heart. The cheers from earlier echoed in her mind, but they felt distant now, a haunting reminder of the greater fight that lay ahead. Back at her bakery, she attempted to unwind, but the calm was elusive. Rolling out croissants was a ritual of solace, yet tonight it felt utterly out of reach. A wave of exhaustion crashed over her as she let the rolling pin slide from her fingers. Would she still have a bakery if the park was gone? Visions of her dream crumbling felt insurmountable. Suddenly, the bell above the door chimed, interrupting her spiraling thoughts. It was Ethan, looking slightly out of place in the cozy confines of her shop filled with warmth. Her chest tightened. Hadn't he been present when she needed him most during the rallies, and the thought stung. "Mia, can we talk?" he asked, his usual charm replaced by a nervousness that resonated with her uncertainty. "What's there to talk about?" she replied, trying to keep her tone steady, but a tremor slipped through. Her bakery was her sanctuary, not a courtroom for their ongoing struggles. "Mia, I was in the background. I saw you connecting with everyone, and I was proud. But I also felt out of place, maybe a little overshadowed," he admitted, running a hand through his hair, a gesture she recognized his way of coping under pressure. Her shoulders fell as she breathed in deeply. "Proud? I need you to stand with me, not behind me. I can't fight for our community alone. I want you to fight with me. This is about my home, our home." He shifted his weight, uncertainty shadowing his expression. "They won. Take it away. We can do something about it." "But it's complicated," he hesitated, eyes searching for just the right words. "Complicated?" she snapped, frustration blossoming inside her. "It's not complicated for everyone else. It's our lives, Ethan." As tears pricked the corners of her eyes, she felt the weight of the park, the dreams and laughter woven into its history crushing her under its enormity. Her heart was in turmoil. How could she trust someone who struggled to embrace her world fully? Ethan stepped closer, reaching for her hand. "I don't want to lose you," he murmured, voice low, sincerity draping every syllable between them. His warmth seeped into her palm, a comfort tainted by the question lurking unspoken between them. Did he truly understand her battle? Mia withdrew slightly, biting her lip. Could they truly bridge the gap between their worlds? Her heart stirred with conflicting emotions. The fight for the park and her future was interwoven with the choice of love or loyalty to herself. "Maybe losing is part of it," she whispered, standing on the precipice of change, light flickering just beyond grasp. The air quivered with tension, anxiety swirling like fog. She needed to choose, to accept his hand, or to walk alone into the unknown. As the gravity of her decision loomed, she realized the path ahead was not just about the park but about her own identity, an awakening of truth and resilience waiting to burst forth. Would she choose the familiar warmth of love, or the fiery passion of her community? In that moment of uncertainty between vulnerability and strength, Mia was poised on the edge of transformation. What choice would she make, and what consequences would follow? The fight was just beginning. Mia stood frozen, her hand hovering just above Ethan's. A million thoughts battled in her mind. Could she really close her eyes to the growing tension between them? The park, their childhood memories intertwined with laughter, picnics, and community celebrations, felt like both a solid rock and a fragile dream. "Ethan," she started, but her voice cracked. Swallowing hard, she tried again. "We need to be honest. Either you stand with me, or what? You walk away?" He cut in, a flash of hurt crossing his face. Mia, I'm scared. This isn't just about a park for me. This is about us and where we're headed. But if it feels like I'm not agreeing with you, it's only because I truly don't understand yet. His words sank into her. She yearned for him to see what she saw, to feel the weight of history and dreams that the park represented. She opened her mouth, but no words came. Just give me a chance to catch up, he pleaded, his voice soft but firm. Help me understand. Show me why this matters so much. Something in his tone pulled her in. Maybe he was right, maybe bridging their gap required time. She took a breath, letting the heat of the moment cool just a bit. It matters because this isn't just land. It's home. It's how we all gather, how we build memories. If they take that away, they're taking away our future. Ethan nodded slowly, absorbing her words. The silence hung between them like a thread, slowly stretching but not snapping. Their weathered relationship was like a dough that needed kneading, twists, turns, gentle pressure to create something solid. After a moment, he asked, what if we stage a bigger rally? Something that can really shake the foundations and make our voices heard. It's not just your fight, but ours. Mia blinked, the idea catching her off guard. A larger rally? Hope sparked within her. With Ethan at her side, they could attract more crowd support, strengthen their argument against the development plans. They could unite the community in ways she hadn't anticipated. Are you serious? You'd do that? The corners of her mouth lifted, despite the weight in her heart. Absolutely, he replied, his eyes brightening. I'd stand in that crowd and shout alongside you. I want to be part of this, in whatever way I can. But the worry still lingered, a thought nagging at the back of her mind. What if this was still an act? A way to appease her while holding on to his own doubts? And if things don't go as planned? What then, Ethan? Will you still stand by me? His answer came quickly, with unyielding sincerity. Yes. As long as we're fighting together. That's what matters. Her heart swelled, yet the old insecurities flickered, still an ember refusing to fade. I don't want to carry the burden alone anymore. You need to know this fight is personal. My whole world is wrapped up in that park. Then show me, he said earnestly, taking a step closer. Show me your world. Let me walk alongside you. With her heart racing, Mia nodded. Maybe Ethan was finally ready to step into the light of her reality. As they began to formulate a plan, their hopes turned to action. With each passing moment, a new dance of solidarity started weaving between them, a tapestry of shared dreams and fears. Yet, amidst the excitement, shadows lurked. What if their rally only attracted attention from those who wanted to silence their efforts? That original knot in her gut tightened again, a reminder that the road ahead was fraught with dangers. Once again, she caught Ethan's gaze. You promise you're all in? Because the rally, it's just the beginning. The fight won't be easy, but we need to commit fully. No holding back. I promise, he said, and in that moment, Mia sensed a new fire igniting. They were more than just hopeful dreamers now, they were a team, two halves converging into a united front. Yet as the plan unfolded in her mind, doubts whispered warnings of betrayal, the kind that emerges from love tangled in complicity. What if this newfound resolve led her to a place she couldn't return from? With uncertainty throbbing beneath the excitement, Mia understood what she faced, a battle for not just the park, but for her heart. Would Ethan truly fight by her side, or would he falter when the stakes were raised? As they charted their course into uncharted territory, Mia caught a glimpse of a potential follower gathering in the distance, but also of a storm brewing behind the scenes that could change everything. The rally was only the beginning, but with so many pieces in play, she couldn't help but wonder, was this the first move of a new chapter, or the prologue to something far more devastating? The following day felt electric. The sun burst through Mia's window, illuminating her determination. She grabbed her notebook, flipping to a blank page at the front. Ideas bubbled in her mind: slogans, speeches, sketches of banners. She could almost hear the roar of a crowd rallying behind her, united by their love for the park, for their community. "Mia!" Her mother called from downstairs. "Breakfast is ready." As she rushed down, she mentally jotted down the first slogan: "Save our space." Over scrambled eggs and toast, Mia shared her plan with her mom, who listened intently. "You're going to need support," her mother said after Mia finished, her brow furrowed in thought. "Make sure to rally our neighbors. Every voice counts." Her words were a gentle nudge, and it ignited a spark in Mia's chest. She wanted the entire neighborhood involved, not just Ethan and her. The thought of community friends, old and new, lifting their voices together made her heart race. After breakfast, she took to the streets, feeling a sense of purpose. She began by knocking on doors, sharing her vision with her neighbors. Some hesitated at first, unsure of the outcome, but Mia's enthusiasm was contagious. "This park is our home. We can't let it be taken away," she proclaimed, feeling the urgency in her voice. By evening, Mia had gathered a small group, including some who promised to help. Even Mrs. Bennett, the retired teacher known for her fierce spirit, agreed to lend her voice to the cause. As Mia returned home, her heart felt light, as if an invisible weight had been lifted, but in those moments of triumph, doubt still lingered. She couldn't shake the feeling that the storm she sensed earlier was brewing fast. What if not everyone supported their mission? What if their peaceful demonstration triggered anger from those in power? The next morning, Mia and Ethan met in the park to map out their next steps. The sun shone, casting a golden hue over the grass, their childhood playground. "I talked to a few friends," Ethan said, his voice steady as they spread a large sheet of paper across a picnic table. "They said they're in, and I called the local news. They might come out to cover the rally." Mia's heart leaped. "That's amazing. If we can get the media on board, it could really make a difference." But as Ethan's excitement grew, Mia's anxiety steepened. "What if they twist our message?" she asked, fear creeping into her voice. "What if they misrepresent us?" Ethan paused, looking her directly in the eyes. "Then we'll go in armed with the truth. We'll make them listen." His confidence invigorated her momentarily, but doubt still whispered. Together, they began to draw the layout of the rally. Tables for food, banners, a sound system. It was all coming together until Mia's phone buzzed with a notification. She glanced down to find a text from her father. "Mia, I can't support you in this fight. It's dangerous. Think of your future." The words stung, hitting Mia like a blow. She felt the warmth of the day wane. "My dad doesn't believe in me," she whispered. Ethan reached for her hand. "That's their fear talking, not your reality. You know what you're fighting for. That's what matters." His touch sent a rush of comfort through her, but the lingering doubt settled deeper. Could she carry this burden of expectation while conjuring a battle against her own father's beliefs? As they prepared for the rally, Mia's resolve tangled with lingering worry. Somehow, they were all standing on shifting ground. What if the community itself turned against them, turning the fight for the park into a personal catastrophe? With every moment leading up to the rally, the stakes rose like the tension in her chest. Mia needed this fight for her heart and her home, but at what cost? As dusk blanketed the park, they stared at the last remnants of a fading sun. "There's something bigger at play," Mia voiced quietly, the weight of her thoughts pressing down. "What if we can't hold on?" Ethan squeezed her hand tighter. "We either rise together or fall apart. But I'll be here, every step of the way." But even in his assurance, a chilling thought broke through. What if their fight stirred up not just the village's heart, but also someone else's wrath? As the night deepened, Mia held on to a flicker of hope, even as shadows loomed ahead, waiting silently for the right moment to strike. Was she truly ready for the storm that awaited? Only time would tell. Would they rise together, or would their journey reveal cracks they could never mend? As the dawn broke the next day, Mia felt a mixture of excitement and dread in her gut. Today was the day they would rally, gathering the community to fight for what was theirs. She dressed quickly, slipping into a comfortable pair of sneakers and a bright yellow t-shirt emblazoned with her slogan, "Save Our Space." The bright color was a beacon of hope, but it also reminded her that she had to stand tall against the storm. Walking to the park, the air buzzed with the chatter of neighbors setting up tables, arranging chairs, and unrolling banners. The sun painted the sky in shades of orange and pink as Mia approached. A few familiar faces waved, their smiles full of encouragement. "Hey, Mia!" shouted Deshaun, a kid from down the block. "I brought my dad's speaker. We can blast our voices out there." "Awesome!" Mia grinned, feeling an electric thrill at the sight of everyone coming together. This was at the moment she had envisioned since the day she first touched the bark of the old oak in their park. As the crowd began to gather, Mia spotted Mrs. Bennet speaking with another neighbor, her hands animated as she stirred up support. The older woman had always encouraged Mia to follow her passion, and seeing her here, ready to fight for their home, warmed Mia's heart. "Ladies and gentlemen," Mia called, stepping onto the makeshift platform they had set up. The crowd was small, but it was growing. "Thank you all for being here. Together, we're not just saving a park. We're saving our community, our history, and our joy." Cheers erupted from the crowd. For a moment, all her fears faded into the background. This was about more than a park, it was about the legacy of laughter, memories, and togetherness, but as people continued to gather, Mia's heart raced with trepidation. Where was everyone else? What if the voices that should have joined them stayed silent? What if her dad wasn't the only one who disapproved? It felt like a weight was pressing on her chest, threatening to squeeze the hope right out of her. Ethan appeared beside her, a reassuring presence. "Are you ready?" he asked, his voice low but confident. "Ready as I can be," she replied, forcing a smile, though doubt flickered behind her eyes. Their small group prepared for the speeches and the chants, the rhythm of their unified voices echoing her plea to save the space they held dear. And just as they were about to kick off the rally, a low rumble of thunder grumbled in the distance. Mia's heart jumped. The sky darkened, and she felt the first droplets of rain. Panic threatened to set in, her thoughts tumbling over one another. What if it pours? What if people leave? But then, the crowd began to chant, a rhythmic flow of voices rising against the growing storm. "Save our space! Save our space!" The energy was infectious, each heartbeat bringing strength to her resolve. The rain began to fall, but with it came a sense of urgency and solidarity. The community stood firm, the light drizzle collecting in puddles but failing to dampen their spirits. Together, they held their banners aloft, the slogans a defiance against the dismal weather. Mia's heart swelled. "This is our fight," she shouted, the power of her voice cutting through the falling rain. "We won't back down, no matter what." But just as the crowd gathered around her surged with determination, a black SUV pulled up, parking ominously at the edge of the park. Mia's heart dropped as she recognized the emblem of the developer's company she had seen in the news, the very ones threatening to strip away the park. As the doors swung open, her palm went clammy around her makeshift microphone. Who was stepping out? What did they want? Mia's mind raced as uncertainty settled in. Would this rally amplify their voice, or would it trigger a confrontation that could unravel everything they had built? The moment felt too surreal, and as new figures emerged, they bore a serious demeanor that told Mia they were not here just for a friendly chat. What would happen next? Would they stand their ground or be swept away in the tide of fear? Only time would reveal if their passionate fight to save their park would lead to victory or chaos. The crowd felt electric, the tension in the air thick as the rain continued to fall. Mia's heart thundered louder than the rolling clouds above. She squinted through the downpour, trying to make out the figures stepping out from the SUV. A tall man in a sharp suit emerged first. His sunglasses were still perched on his nose despite the cloudy weather. Mia recognized him instantly from the news, Mr. Hawthorne, the head of the development company. He looked every part the corporate mogul, exuding confidence but lacking warmth. Next to him was a woman in a blazer, a clipboard in her hands and an undeniable air of authority. Mia felt the presence of the threat they represented nearly swallow her whole. "Mia," Ethan said quietly beside her, his eyes wide. "What do we do?" Mia took a deep breath, her fingers tightening around the microphone. It felt more like a lifeline than a tool to amplify her voice. "We keep going," she replied, trying to steady her own spiraling thoughts. "We're here to stand up for our park. For each other." The crowd seemed to sense her resolve, eyes turning her way. Mia's voice rose above the rain. "Stay strong, everyone. They think they can scare us away, but we won't let them." A few of the older people in the crowd shot encouraging nods in her direction. The chanting resumed more fervently. "Save our space. Save our space." Mr. Hawthorne lifted a hand to quiet the crowd, an unyielding look in his eyes. "Let us not make this a scene," he called out, his voice smooth but commanding. "We are just here to talk peacefully about the future of this land." Mia's heart raced. "Talk?" she shouted back, narrowing her eyes. "You mean take away our park? Our home?" His expression twisted slightly, annoyance flickering across his features. "That's not how progress works, Mia. We have plans to improve this community. You'll see." A murmur passed through the crowd, whispers of distrust, worry. Mia sensed the fear creeping in, threatening to unravel the force they built together. She couldn't let it spread. "Not now. Mr. Hawthorne," she said, her voice clear, pushing through the loud voices of the rain. "This park isn't just some land. It's where families gather, where kids learn to ride bikes and where friendships are formed. You can't just put a price tag on those things." "Mia." A voice called from the edge of the crowd. It was Mrs. Bennett, her voice frail but steady. "We need to show them we're serious. They underestimate us." Mia nodded, encouraged. "Exactly. This is our home, and we will not let anyone take it away from us. We will fight for what's right." The rain poured harder now, but it only amplified their voices. With every drop, their chant grew stronger. "Save our space. Save our space." Mia felt the surge of warmth togetherness bring. She saw expressions harden, determination igniting in weary faces around her. For a fleeting moment, she allowed herself to feel hopeful. Together, they could push back against the storm, physical and metaphorical. Mr. Hawthorne adjusted his sunglasses, unimpressed, but she could see uncertainty flash in his eyes for just a moment. They were all here, unified and fueled by purpose. Perhaps that fear of his could be shaken. "Oh, really?" he said, voice dripping with sarcasm. "You think you can make a difference? This park won't stop our plans." Mia stepped forward, emboldened. "But it will make us louder. We are the voices that matter." Suddenly, thunder cracked above, echoing her sentiment. The ground beneath them rumbled, and she felt it echo through her own heart, a universal kind of power. But as the rain dripped around them, a realization washed over Mia. They might win today, but what lay ahead could be far more challenging. "Everyone!" she shouted, her heart racing as she raised the microphone high. "Are we ready to show them what we can do?" The crowd roared back enthusiastically. And in that moment, hope surged. But deep down, Mia knew they had just scratched the surface of their battle. She could feel it in her bones. As the rain poured down, the crowd stood firm, awaiting the next move from the looming presence of the developers. Mia's heart pounded like a drum. What would be their next act of defiance? And what would they risk to protect their beloved park? Could they really push back against the odds stacked against them? Only time would tell. Mia felt the electric energy in the air pulse through her veins as the crowd intensified their chanting. It was as if the raindrops themselves were fueling their resolve, each drop a reminder of their fight for something bigger than themselves. She glanced around, trying to catch the eyes of familiar faces, people she had grown up with, shared laughter with, and now stood shoulder to shoulder, ready to battle for their cherished park. The rain was relentless, washing away any pretense of normalcy, but it also brought clarity. This wasn't just about the park, it was about community, legacy, and standing against those who saw their home as a mere transaction. Mia. Ethan's voice broke through her thoughts. She turned to find him anxiously wringing his hands, concern etched across his face. What if they call the cops? What if we get arrested? His fear was palpable, and she saw it mirrored in the faces of others nearby. Somehow, she knew this was part of the fight. This was a battleground, and each person present was a warrior in their own right. We can't let fear win, she replied, her voice steady now. If we stand together, they can't silence us. Just then, Mrs. Bennet stepped forward, her figure a steadfast presence despite her age. Mia. She called out, determination piercing through the rain. You've got the heart of a lion. Show them what we're made of. Mia took a deep breath, drawing strength from the crowd surrounding her. All right everyone, I need you to listen. We need more than just voices, we need to act. Share your stories. Tell everyone why this park matters. We won't let them hide our truth. The crowd responded with a unified roar, and Mia's heart swelled. People began to step forward, sharing short anecdotes that resonated deeply. One person spoke about teaching their child to ride a bike on the park's gentle slopes. Another recalled gathering during summer picnics, faces painted with joy. The stories flowed like the rain, each one more powerful than the last. Amidst the shared memories, Mia looked up and caught Mr. Hawthorne's eye. There was a hint of something. There was it fear? Doubt? She felt the tides shifting, a crack in his corporate armor, and it fueled her tenacity. With a renewed spirit, she shouted, "This park is a living, breathing part of our community. You may have money, Mr. Hawthorne, but you cannot buy our memories." The accusation hung in the air, electrifying the atmosphere further. Suddenly, the woman next to him, clipboard in hand, leaned over and whispered something to him. Though their words were inaudible, her sharp nod spoke volumes. An unsettling chill crept through Mia. Were they regrouping? Plotting? Listen to us, a voice boomed from the crowd. It's not just a piece of land, it's our sanctuary. Cheers erupted, and Mia felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. They were more than a crowd, they were a family. But then she spotted a new figure approaching from behind Mr. Hawthorne, a man dressed in police uniform, his stance imposing against the backdrop of rain. The crowd's exuberance shifted to apprehension, the atmosphere thickening as the reality of confrontation loomed. Are we about to be dispersed? Ethan whispered nervously, inching closer to Mia. The fear was infectious, a weight she too began to feel. I don't know, she confessed, swallowing hard. But we can't back down. Not now. In that moment, Mia realized this was their defining hour, a moment where their collective voice could not only echo around the park but could reach the ears of the entire city. But would the police stand with them or against them? The rain continued to pour, but so did the resolve within Mia, pushing her onward. What would happen if the police didn't side with the community? What other challenges lay ahead in their fight for the park? She could feel the stakes rising, and as much as hope lingered, urgency clenched her heart. Could they stand their ground against the storm, or would their voices be drowned out? They would discover the answer soon enough. The police officer took a step forward, eyeing the crowd with an expression as steady as a stone wall. Mia's heart raced. He looked like he could dismiss them all with a single command, his authority heavy in the air. The chant that had once echoed fervently began to falter, each voice wavering under the weight of uncertainty. "Back down now, and we won't have any issues," the officer warned, his voice booming over the relentless downpour. The words cut through the crowd like thunder, and Mia felt a collective exhale of fear sweep over her. "No!" Mia shouted, pushing through the throng to the front. She could see the confusion painted on the faces all around her friends, neighbors, people who had always stood together. "This isn't just a piece of land. This is our heritage, our lives. We aren't going anywhere." Her declaration hung in the air, bold and defiant. It sparked a fire in others. "Our lives. Our memories." Came the cries from her right, cascading through the crowd. One after another, they repeated her words, a rising wave of solidarity that swelled around her. "Mia, be careful." Ethan's voice trembled at her side, laced with concern. But she was past listening to him now, adrenaline pulsed through her veins. She was no longer just Mia the girl who loved the park. She was Mia the voice that could spark change. The officer frowned but didn't move closer. His partner, a younger woman, glanced nervously at him, perhaps doubting him, too. Mia seized the moment. "You have a choice," she pressed, looking directly at the officer. "You can choose to listen to our stories today. Or you can choose to silence a community that has spent generations building something beautiful." Her words struck deeper than she anticipated, and a few feet behind her, faces flickered with understanding. Someone shouted, "We stand with her." And it rippled through the crowd in a wave of agreement. The officer's frame stiffened, and for a moment, silence reigned. But there was a vulnerability in his eyes that Mia latched onto. Slowly, he softened. "I'm just doing my job, ma'am." His voice didn't hold the weight it did moments before, and she could tell he was beginning to waver. "Then help us," she urged, her heart racing faster than the rain could fall. "Help us communicate with the council. Don't shut us down." The crowd erupted again, uplifted by Mia's determination. Encouraged, Ethan stepped forward, rallying others to join him. "Tell them your stories. Show them how much this park means to you." As tales began to emerge, voices overlapping in urgency and passion, the energy shifted. Each person spoke as if a world lay at the edge of their words, recalling moments of joy and heartache, love and loss, all intertwined with the park. The officer stood still, his presence no longer imposing, as the stories flowed around him, the laughter of children, friendships forged in the shade of the trees, the peaceful moments where life seemed to pause. Little by little, he began to listen, and Mia could see the change in his expression. Curiosity began to bend the rigid lines of his face. But just as hope took root, Mr. Hawthorne stepped forward, his features twisted in contempt. "This is all nothing," he spat, raising his voice to drown out the chatter. "Empty nostalgia. You really think those stories matter to progress?" The crowd gasped collectively, words sputtering and tangling as anger bubbled to the surface. "We are more than just memories," Mia shouted back, feeling a swell of protection for everyone who had shared their hearts. "We are a community that refuses to be ignored." The rain poured harder, matching the tumult within them all. Just then, Mia caught sight of a small girl, a stranger in the crowd, clutching a torn teddy bear. The child's innocent eyes held nothing but pure determination. "Mommy! Don't let them take our park." The little voice rang clear above the storm. Mia's heart broke wide open, and a fresh wave of hope surged through her. This was it, she had to show everyone that their voices mattered, that change was possible. But what would happen if Mr. Hawthorne wouldn't he back down? Would they need to prepare for the fight of their lives? As she locked eyes with the officer, a silent plea gripped her, a call to do what was right. It was her moment of truth, but would it be enough? Mia took a deep breath, the moisture in the air mixing with the weight of determination on her heart. She felt the surge of courage from the crowd behind her, a collective heartbeat that synchronized with her own. The rain pelted her face, but the warmth of connection among her neighbors offered an unexpected sanctuary. "Remember why you're here," she called out, her voice cutting through the chaos. "This isn't just about a park. It's about all of us standing together, about our future." Ethan moved closer, visibly shaken yet resolute. "You can't let someone like Hawthorne decide your worth. We matter." His words ignited another wave of fervor, people nodding, faces lighting up with new resolve. But Mia knew it wouldn't be enough. Not against a power that felt so overwhelming. "We need to show them our love for this place. It's what makes us us." She glanced at the little girl and the torn teddy bear, a symbol of innocence in this fight for dignity. The officer shifted uncomfortably, staring at the sea of hopeful faces. "Look," he finally spoke, looking between Mia and Mr. Hawthorne. "I see that this means a lot to you, but we're facing a vote. It's already in motion. Then we just need to make our voices heard before that vote happens." Mia pleaded. "Let us speak to those in the council. We can show them it's not just a park, it's our home." Mr. Hawthorne scoffed, his disdain radiating through the stillness like a thunderclap. "You think a handful of sob stories can change the minds of decision-makers? It's all about progress and profit," he said, shaking his head. But Mia wouldn't let him win. She stepped forward again, the growing chorus of her community sparking the flame that had been dimmed for too long. "Mr. Hawthorne, progress doesn't mean destroying what we hold dear. Our community doesn't collapse beneath profit, it rises with it." The growing anxiety in the crowd started to fade, transformed into a powerful undercurrent. "Mia's right," someone shouted, encouraging others to jump in. The tales continued, voices blending like a chorus, painting vivid pictures of the park not just as land, but as a living, breathing part of their lives. As the rain began to slacken, Mia noticed the officer's stance. The power of his authority seemed diminished, along with the hardened edges of his expression. Maybe, just maybe, they were getting through to him. "Isn't it your duty to protect what matters?" Mia pressed, her eyes searching his, appealing to the flicker of empathy she hoped he felt. "Your heart knows what's right." For a moment, the officer's gaze softened, revealing a flicker of conflict. The shift was subtle but crucial, like the calm before a storm that might finally break. Then, Mr. Hawthorne pointed at Mia, his eyes ablaze with hatred. "This is where your road ends, Mia. Don't think for a second that you're going to change anything. The council won't listen to the likes of you." Hadn't he just underestimated the strength that comes from unity? With a determined heart, Mia took a step back and opened her arms wide, rallying everyone around her. "We are not going to back down," she shouted, her voice echoing against the now softly falling rain. "We deserve to exist, to be seen, to matter." The crowd roared, a tidal wave of voices crashing together in agreement. But as she basked in the warmth of their support, doubt flickered through her mind. Was it really going to be enough? Just then, a siren wailed in the distance, a sound that punctured the atmosphere. The officers looked toward the sound, a hint of worry creeping back into their tightly controlled demeanor. What were they preparing for? Mia's heart sank. The fight was far from over. Would the arrival of reinforcements spell disaster, or could it turn the tide in their favor? Mia's heart pounded even faster at the sound of sirens echoing through the rain-slicked park. The oncoming police presence was an unwelcome reminder that their peaceful protest was teetering on the edge of chaos. But amidst the fears and uncertainties, something inside her ignited a fierce determination to protect what truly mattered. "Mia." Ethan's voice broke through the growing tension. "What are we going to do?" She steadied herself, meeting his worried gaze. "We fight for our voices. We don't let them silence us now." As the crowd swelled with both fear and resolve, Mia took a deep breath, reflecting on what she had fought for. This park wasn't just land. It was the soul of their community, a tapestry woven from laughter, tears, and memories. Everyone she shouted, her voice cutting through the murmurs like a laser beam. We can't let fear stop us. Look around you. We are a family. Cheers erupted in response, and she felt the warmth of unity wrapping around her, pushing away the chill of doubt. In the distance, she could see officers stepping out of their vehicles, their cold expressions betraying little of the empathy she hoped existed deep within. Mia could sense the weight of their attention, and she knew they couldn't afford to lose momentum now. Mia, Ethan encouraged, gripping her hand tighter. What do we say? With the image of the little girl and her torn teddy bear firmly in her mind, Mia replied, we tell them why this matters. We share our stories, our memories. That's the heart of the fight. The crowd began chanting again, louder this time, emboldened by the promise of connection and solidarity. Mia could feel the energy shifting as voices crescendoed, the rain providing a rhythm to their resolve. Save our space. Save our space. As the officer leading the charge approached, Mia stood firm at the front, her voice clear. We are here to tell you how vital this park is to our community. We have stories, real stories that reveal the significance of this land. You have to listen. The officer's eyes softened slightly as he surveyed the crowd that was now a living emblem of hope, a swelling ocean of humanity that refused to be neglected. Mia continued, this place allows us to create memories, build friendships, and nurture future generations. Can you really sanction the uprooting of our foundation for profit? For a moment, Mia saw hesitation cross the officer's face. Perhaps he was beginning to see real stories had the power to change hearts, even the toughest of facades. Mr. Hawthorne stepped closer, his arrogance brimming over, but Mia would not back down. This isn't just about business deals. She locked eyes with him, unwavering. You think we're just a bunch of nostalgic dreamers, but our dreams are tangible, they're real, they're living, and you're trying to take that from us. The crowd surged with renewed passion, echoing her words with a fierce chant of We Matter. Each shout resonated like a drumbeat, urging the officer to reconsider. The tension in the air thickened, a palpable silence hanging for a moment as both the crowd and the officers digested her words. But then, a woman from the crowd stepped up, her voice steady and brimming with emotion. I used to bring my children here every Saturday for picnics. This park is where they learned how to ride bikes, and where we celebrated birthdays. It's a part of our family history. People began stepping toward the front, each offering their own story. A man spoke of the first date he had with his wife, sitting under the very trees they were now fighting to protect. Another woman shared how the park had become a safe space for her children to play and grow. Mia stood in awe as the collective voices washed over her, like a tide washing away the remnants of doubt. Together, they were crafting not just a protest but a narrative, their narrative rooted in love, laughter, and hope. The officer shifted slightly as he listened, his eyes flitting from one speaker to another, the weight of their words landing heavy on his conscience. Mia sensed the potential for change shaping the air. They were reaching his ears, whether he liked it or not. Please. Mia urged, her heart pounding with urgency. We are asking for understanding. Join us, not as enforcers but as allies. The tension thickened, the emotions swirled, and finally, after what felt like an eternity, the officer stepped forward, holding up his hand to halt the continuing tales. All right, all right. I hear you. Let us take a step back. Let us talk. Mia's breath hitched. His words, though tentative, opened a door. You all want your voices heard? Let us set up a meeting with the council, he continued. We'll discuss how we can find a compromise. Cheers erupted through the crowd, and a wave of hope flooded Mia's heart. Maybe they could save their park, their home, after all. As the rain began to lighten, Mia felt the shadows of doubt recede, albeit cautiously. This was a moment of transformation not just for her but for the whole community. Ethan squeezed her hand tighter, a proud smile spreading across his face. We did it, he whispered, excitement bubbling just beneath the surface. But this is just the beginning, Mia replied, a spark of determination flashing in her eyes. We've fought for our space, but now we must ensure it thrives. And in that moment, standing side by side with her community, Mia felt the weight of uncertainty lift. They were no longer just a group of individuals, they were a powerful collective, a family bound by love and unwavering belief in their fight for a place they all called home. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. Their victory was not just in the moment, but in the fire they ignited within one another, lighting the path forward. Heart swelling with hope, Mia turned to Ethan, and together, they looked toward the horizon, ready to embrace whatever came next as champions of their dream. Now was the time to rise with strength, unity, and an indomitable spirit. And as the clouds parted, revealing a brilliant sun, it dawned that their journey was just beginning. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that inspire hope and resilience. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support makes a difference. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this powerful ending. And please, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation, because you know they need to feel this energy too. Don't wait not even one more second to share and show your support. True fans understand the importance of these actions.